Take a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling.
Andrew Whitelaw for the South China Morning Post, joined now by former Bellator lightweight champion and soon-to-be UFC debutant Michael Chandler. Michael, there might not have been as anticipated a UFC debut as yours. We've spoken about it and looked forward to it for years. You've already done a dress rehearsal. How do you feel this close to the fight? How's it going?
I feel good. I feel great. You alluded to my dress rehearsal. I was here on Fight Island just a couple months ago, and I think I can draw a lot of experience from that. I somewhat know what to expect, how the W here in Abu Dhabi is set up, quarantine stuff, what the workouts look like, or workout facilities look like. The UFC and the W here has rolled out the red carpet for us, and it's taken a lot of the guesswork out, and now it's just enjoying the fight week stuff that we have to always do. I've done this for the last 12 years. Everything is just a lot bigger now. You talk about my UFC debut. I'm excited to go out there and compete in that octagon for the first time finally on January 23rd.
Well, we already know that you're a world champion. You competed in numerous title fights, but in terms of landmarks, how significant does this feel, given it's UFC 257, McGregor Poirier main card? Anything could happen in terms of someone pulling out, but just being co-main event finally at the UFC, fighting Hooker for your chance to make a massive splash in this division. How big is this?
It's I think you really couldn't scripted it any better, to be honest. I still feel like I am the best performances of my career, of my life are ahead of me. And that first one's going to be on the biggest possible platform. When you're in the UFC, these days, the only thing bigger than being the co-main event on a Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier pay-per-view would be to be in the cage with Conor on a pay-per-view. So this is just about as big of an introduction as I could have possibly asked for. This was always the date that we wanted. Once that October date kind of was passed, this was the date that we wanted, obviously. And it was a perfect scenario. It's a perfect storm. Everything is set. The stage is set for a great debut. I had a great training camp with great people around me, and I couldn't be happier. So we'll see January 23rd where I stack up in this UFC lightweight division. I believe it's with the best of them, and the first step towards that quest towards the UFC title starts on Saturday night.
It's a pretty lively one. Dan Hooker, he's become a bit of a fan favorite. It's funny because sometimes winning can enhance your stock with the public. Maybe even losing to Poirier enhanced his stock with the public, but he's definitely as game as they come. How much do you relish the challenge as a competitor of facing a guy like Dan Hooker, and what weaknesses do you see in him that give you the advantage?
These are the kind of fights you want. I didn't come over to the UFC and sign with the promotion to tiptoe around. I wanted to be thrown into that upper echelon mix right away, and obviously there was a bunch of names being thrown around in that top five, and Dan Hooker's name was always one of them because he's ranked up there in the top five, top six. So we're not quite sure what's going to happen with the UFC lightweight division. All we do know is that it is the most exciting division in the UFC right now, and the division that has the most intrigue around it as far as what's going to happen next, what matchups are going to happen. But I'm glad I'm matched up with Dan Hooker. I'm glad Conor and Poirier have their fight. We had Charles Oliveira have a great performance a couple weeks ago, and then we're not sure what Khabib is going to do. But as far as Dan Hooker himself, as you alluded to, he's an awesome competitor. He's a tough guy. He can take damage. He can dish it out, and he's tough in every single aspect of the sport. Ground, cage, standing up. He's a champion in every sense of the word, and he's got a lot of respect amongst our peers as well. He's a fighter's fighter. He's a guy who always shows up to fight. And even as you said, I was very similar. I've had losses in my career where I feel like taking the loss and taking it the way that I did, handling myself the way that I did, plus coupled with the performance that I put on, even in a loss, sometimes gets you more fans, more notoriety, more respect. than having won a fight has. So none of us are perfect. None of us are undefeated. Besides Khabib, but this is not a career where it's easy to stay undefeated. So we all have losses on our record, and it's how you pull yourself back up, how you dust yourself back off, and how you continue to move forward that really defines the man or woman in the sport.
We've already talked about the caveat of this fight. It's a massive, massive fight, but there's kind of that caveat that anything happens to Poirier, especially in the time of COVID, anything happens to McGregor, is basically you, right? You or your competitor. But Max Holloway, the whole MMA world is buzzing about his performance. Now he's been on the mic, said he's sticking around, and it's funny in the fight game, people always trying to take what's yours, right? Holloway now wants that spot. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, if Max didn't just fight 25 minutes hard, I know it was a dominant victory. It was a one-sided landslide, but he still took some damage. Calvin Kattar hits hard. So I would imagine Max is going to be suspended. He's not going to be, he wouldn't be actually able to make this quick of a turnaround without either a really bad media storm, really bad optics, and B, just the fact that he just can't do it because he's going to be suspended no matter what. But he has every right after that performance that he put on. He has every single right to say Khabib's name, to talk about stepping in on that main event if something happens, stepping in my fight if something happens to one of us. Max Holloway has earned it. Max Holloway is, man, he was, the word spectacular has been thrown around a lot since Khabib said he wants to see something spectacular. He looked spectacular last Saturday night, and take nothing away from him, and make no mistake about it, Max Holloway is one of the best guys to step into an octagon these days.
Have you been given any kind of hint that it would be you and not Dan Hooker who would be the one to step in, given that it was supposed to be you if anything happened to Khabib or Gaethje last time?
I have not. Of course, from a management side, from thinking about it in my mind, of course, I would hope that they would give me that call if something happened during the weight cut or during COVID tests or whatnot. But just focused on the task at hand, which is Dan Hooker. Focus on the what we have going on right now, the for sure thing, which it's never actually a for sure thing until we step into that actual octagon and the cage door closes. But so I haven't had any indications, but I would definitely want to be the first call that they make.
I'm not sure if you've experienced it already, but McGregor fight week, even before fight week, it's just madness when that man arrives, the media, everything. I don't know if you've already started to feel that, but you've already mentioned that he'd be somebody who'd be a great matchup for you. Do you think you're destined to face him at some point or another? If it's not very soon, then later this year.
Yes, if I do my job. I got a job to do, and that's to go out there and put on dominant performances, win fights. So if I win January 23rd against Dan Hooker and look impressive, I think it's inevitable that our paths will cross. He is absolutely, in every sense of the word, a champion in this sport. He is an MMA, a combat sports icon right now, walking the planet. He just showed up in a Rolls Royce, got off his yacht, showed up in a Rolls Royce here to the hotel. Obviously, I'm here in quarantine, stuck, so I didn't see it, and we haven't crossed paths yet. But I'll see him at the press conference. I'll see him maybe around the hotel. I'm not sure, but I think it's inevitable that our paths will cross if I do my job. This is a performance-based business, as it should be, as every sport should be, as every industry should be. So I'm going to go out there and do my job, and I'm confident that I will do my job, and then the rest will take care of itself.
I think all the interviews I've seen from you are super respectful but confident, dude. You know your own ability, and I've heard you say, you will be a champion in the UFC in 2021. What fundamentally gives you that self-confidence and belief in your ability as a fighter? What makes you believe that you will be champion in the UFC?
I just think I'm able to put it all together. I think, and I had this conversation with Dana whenever I became a free agent and I was able to actually speak to the UFC, and I had that conversation and told him, hey, 6 years ago when my contract was up, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, each of those times I wasn't ready to be the champion that you guys deserve, the superstar that you guys deserve. I think right now I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm the best that I've ever been, from training to my abilities, mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm right where I need to be to go out there and win the title against anybody in the entire world. On any given night, I believe I can beat any lightweight on the UFC roster, any lightweight in the entire world. But this is a crazy sport. It's not an easy sport. So it's just about stringing together good performances, and I've done that over the last 12 years. Had a lot of ups, couple downs, couple subpar performances, but I think I shine best when the lights are brightest. I perform best whenever there's a lot of pressure, whether it's the biggest fight of my life, or it's a guy that I'm a 1,000-to-1 favorite against. I want to show up when the lights are brightest, go out there and put together a great performance. So I just feel like I'm in a great spot where I need to be. And it's, just January of 2021 right now. A lot can happen in the next 11 and a half months in a sport that moves fast, in a promotion that is willing to give you fights back to back to back. I could fight 2 more times this year after January 23rd. And any one of those could be for the title, or at least the number 1 contender shot.
The stage is set. Michael Chandler, you're the man. Thank you so much for your time. UFC 257, it's looking like a banger. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pick a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling.